For Carlos.
Hello, can everybody hear me? Alright, cool. So I haven't practiced this talk, I just made it this morning, so let's see how it goes. It might be long, so if you guys are bored, let me know, just boo. So, what we're going to talk about, what is a hackathon? My journey, the important bits, and the aftermath, what happens after the hackathon. So hopefully everybody can learn a little bit about different stuff. So what is a hackathon? According to Wikipedia, a hackathon is an event where people engage in rapid and collaborative engineering over a relatively short period of time, such as 24 or 48 hours. What is a Solana hackathon, you might ask? So, a few things changed. So, a rapid and collaborative creation, I would say, rather than engineering, because Solana hackathons are a little bit more broad. And it's over a month and a half this case, right? So, can I get a show of hands for, I want to understand, like, who's here? Who's an engineer?
Who's an engineer?
Okay, actually quite a few. Business developers, marketers?
Both?
Artists? Okay, awesome. So, misconception number one, hackathons are not only for engineers, right? And so, I'm Carlos. I was a photojournalist. I trained as a photojournalist in Paris. I turned into a software engineer during COVID. And into a founder, thanks to some Solana hackathons and different opportunities that came along the way. So you can't really see the images, but I did actually used to be a photographer. I was a photographer for about 5 years. But of course, that's not what we came here to see. Everybody came here because of this tweet that apparently went viral last night. So 1 year ago, with no professional experience, as a self-taught developer, I quit my part-time job as a barista to go full-time on Solana. Crazy, right? So far this year, I've won more than $25,000 in different hackathons, and I'm here to spill the beans. Of course, like these $25,000 have been split amongst me and my teammates. This is a team sport, but nonetheless. So, my journey, the starving artist years. I was actually a photojournalist. I came here to Berlin because it was cheap. And then something happened. Something something happened in 2019, going into 2020, into 2021, right? This global event that we all remember. And so I was bored at home and I started to teach myself how to code. There was a lot of YouTube, a lot of Udemy. I was out of the job, so I was like, okay, yeah, fuck it. And then, so while I was learning how to code, like, you know, it's a lot easier if you have a project. Because like in reality, the toughest part is just staying motivated. And so finding a problem to solve is the first sort of key step that I took. And about a year into my development, a friend of mine actually, that I got interested in crypto. I wasn't interested in crypto actually before I started to learn how to code. And I did not spend the entire pandemic trying to build bots that make money for me. I actually just spent learning different programming languages and stuff. And then my friend built a little bot, a bot for an NFT community that he was a part of. And I was like, holy shit, this is super interesting. Especially considering that this friend was, we used to work together as baristas, part-time baristas, because that's what you do when you're a starving artist. And so he built this little bot, and then somebody told him like, oh my god, you should sell that. And my friend's like, what? You can sell stuff on the internet? And I've always been sort of like super interested in like development, well, like business and like entrepreneurship and stuff like that. And so I was an expert because I listened to a lot of podcasts, of course. And so I put together this little website. This was December 2021. This was taken today from the Way Back machine, and our tagline was NFT bots that go burr. So the whole thing was that at the time, like every NFT collection would have a Discord channel, and we essentially created these little bots that would notify the Discord channel every time there was a sale for their NFTs. We also did this for Twitter, and to our surprise, people actually wanted it. And literally within the first 2 or 3 days that we had our landing page together, the landing page did nothing, but it was a thing to show people that that we could maybe do something. And we set every bot by hand. It took an hour, and then we took that down to 5 minutes for setting other people's bots. And as you can see here, the chart goes from month 0 to month 5, from $0 to Lambo. So that's what you call hockey stick growth. What we realized was that actually in crypto, there's just a ton of opportunities. And it really doesn't matter who you are, what your background is. Actually, people were literally sending us money, and they had no idea who we were. And we were telling them that we would give them a year-long subscription to our bots. This meant that we were running our bots in free servers on Heroku, free databases on MongoDB, free everything. We exploited everything free that we could take. And we started a business literally with zero money down, only time. And so people were literally sending money to us, sight unseen. We reached them through Discord, through Twitter. We told them, hey, do you guys need bots? And it just so happened to be something that people actually wanted back then. And actually, funny story, in one of the, I think Riptide, one of the first global Solana hackathons, one of the main winners of that hackathon was Grape, turned into what became sort of like one of the largest DAOs on Solana. Their whole thing was token-gated Discord communities. And this was a first. So they were developing these sort of like Discord tools for token-gating their communities. And we kind of fell right into that sort of niche. But they weren't doing a really good job in their go-to-market strategy. So they were really struggling kind of like keeping up with demand. And so even though there were tools that existed, there was still a hole that we could fill. And so we evolved this a little bit. We got a little bit more professional. This was the second version of our landing page. So we got rid of the shady tagline, and it was let your collection's most relevant stats do the talking. So it became a little bit more clear as to what we were doing. By the way, we were having our meetings in between our shifts while we were working and serving coffee for people. We were working about 10 hours a week on this, nights and weekends, it was really low effort, but it got us started, and it got us really wanting more community, more involvement in the ecosystem, and also sort of like we wanted to if this was what we could do with absolutely zero experience, we really wanted to learn what could we do with a little bit of experience. And so that's kind of where community comes in. And so, time for a cheesy quote: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so that's kind of like last summer, actually. Solana was trying to sort of like grow their involvement here in Germany, and they did something called Summer Camp. So Summer Camp was literally this, for like a build station for, how long was it?
It was a month as well.
It was a month during the global hackathon of a year ago. And that was the first time me and my buddy met anybody that had anything remotely to do with Solana, and we were super excited. And finding that community really opened up a ton of other doors that really just spiraled into the careers that we've had ever since. And I mean, it's been a relatively short period of time, but it's pretty amazing how far you can get by just participating in the community. Let's go back to hackathons. The important bits. So as you can see, the first important bit is literally the same one that we had when we started our business. Find a problem to solve. And this comes down to, in crypto, the story that we're all living isn't set in stone. And so literally you can try anything from any different angle. And if you're a good enough salesperson, somebody will buy it and will experiment with it because this is a nascent industry. And so your biggest asset as an outsider maybe, or as a beginner in this ecosystem, is who you are, where you come from, what your previous industry is, etc. Because right now crypto is a solution looking for a problem, right? And there's kind of like an asymmetric approach that people that don't have any previous experience in this ecosystem can come into it with and bring all these experiences and sort of like see things as others haven't before and propose a new solution to a problem that they know that exists, but we in crypto land that are like fully consumed and that we don't think anything in the real world actually exists, we don't see, right? So what did this mean for us? And during summer camp, we didn't actually end up participating, but it was a huge first step into starting to see the greater ecosystem as maybe this place that we could build a career in. So our problem was, or the problem that we identified was, non-technical people have trouble automating very simple things on Solana. Okay. And developing and maintaining custom solutions is often too much hassle or it's too expensive for different teams. So we learned this because as we were working with different teams, building these bots for them, they would also come to us very often and say like, oh, okay, cool, but now I need to take this information from on-chain and then put it here. And so very often the things that they wanted was if this and that type of situation, but specifically with Solana data. And so we were like, oh, wow, okay, so we could either keep on building these things for like 300 USDC a pop in like 2 hours and stuff, or get bored essentially, or we could build a self-serve solution for them that they could essentially just serve themselves and Bob's your uncle. And so here comes something that I actually learned back in my photojournalist days. Like nowadays, no photographers make money unless you do fashion or product photography. Fun fact. And so, as a photojournalist, you get taught very often that in order to do the best work that you're going to do in your career, you have to get grants. And so there's a set of things that your application needs. And so these are the things. Your problem needs a what? What is the problem you're tackling and who has it? You need to identify your customer, your user, right? Why you? Why you is actually more important than people realize. In selling our solution, you really need to be able to sell confidence that you have the capability to solve this, that you have the domain knowledge necessary to crack this problem open. This is what sometimes they call it founder market or founder product fit. And then why now? Urgency. This actually is the most important one, because no matter what your problem is or who you are, if nobody cares about the specific niche that you're proposing a problem or a solution in, it won't get funded. That's it. And so timing is of the essence. And that's why for example, in the last Solana Global Hackathon, Solana was going through a time where they were really trying to push and promote state compression and the compressed NFTs narrative. And so it's no surprise that the compressed NFT project won the hackathon, right? Previously, it was DeFi, for example, Mango. Max is over there outside. Mango won because the narrative was DeFi, right? So when we're looking at the hackathon that we're in right now, state compression is super important. Consumer applications is super important. I would bet my money that AI is where the money's going to go to. But urgency. So you need a good reason why this solution is worth tackling right now. And so ignorance is bliss. So here we come back to my life story. We had this idea, we had these problems that we had identified. We identified different potential customers, and we started talking with them. And the more that we talked with them, and then we went to Breakpoint last year, the Global Solana Conference, and we're just pitching people on like this self-serve tool for people to do if this and that. So the solution that the problem required started growing and growing and growing and growing. And then I was pretty scared. I was like I didn't know if I could do it. And so I called here my good buddy Chris. One evening in January, I called him and I said, I don't know if I can do this. It's a really big idea, and I do not know if I can execute. And so when you're trying to start anything, and so like as you learn things, especially in a self-taught environment, kind of like the one that I was in, within personal growth, you're either battling with imposter syndrome or boredom. Imposter syndrome, if you're pushing really hard and you do not know what the fuck is going on, right? But you kind of have this trust that you could probably figure it out without letting everybody down around you, right? Or boredom in that you're probably not pushing hard enough, right? And if you don't have imposter syndrome, you're probably overconfident, and that's a different problem to have. So figure it out. And so I was like, in that conversation with Chris, I was like, dude, I'm gonna give up. And he was like, it's okay, smarter people than you have failed. It's okay to fail. It's okay to move on, to try to find a job in the industry. And so he was very encouraging that I quit. And so I slept on it. I was like, whoa, gee, thanks, Chris. And then it just so happened to be that there was a community-run hackathon called Sandstorm Hackathon that had just begun. And I was like, well, maybe there's something there. Maybe we can iterate on this idea as a final Hail Mary. And so I was like, okay, this is like, if this doesn't work, or, if I can figure out this smallish rendition of the idea, if I can figure that out in 2 weeks, then I might as well just quit, right? So keep it super simple, stupid is KISS. Is a design principle that designers take, and I recommend it for everything in life, to be honest. And so we started with the premise. Non-developers use tools like Zapier to automate workflows in Web 2. True. If you don't know what Zapier is this like no-code automation tool on which we basically based most of our business on, honestly. But it's this idea of like in a no-code interface being able to take A and then putting it with B and then that does Z automatically, right? It's super cool. And so we were like, okay, Zapier is a huge company with tons of integration, so maybe we shouldn't try to directly compete with what they're doing. So, boom, A plus B equals C. How about, instead of building a Zapier clone, how about we figure out how to enable people to use Zapier with Solana data, Solana application. And so that's what we set out to build during the hackathon. And so it was a 2-week hackathon. So important bit number 2, a hackathon is the perfect place to experiment and to push yourself. So if that's what you're here for, you found it, all you have to do is do it. Find the simplest and smallest version of your solution that you can showcase the potential of your product towards the future, right? And so that was kind of like what we set out to do with this new idea. So, we have a movie montage going. We coded for 2 weeks. It was me and a couple of other friends that were helping out. And then when it came down to the actual application, this was my first hackathon ever, right? January of this year. When it came to actually submitting the application, I was like, whoops, I have no idea how to submit an application like this. What is it? And so important bit number 3, actually. So a hackathon is a sales competition. So it turns out, however much effort you put into your product, it all really just comes down to the pitch. So you should try to build as cool as a product as you can within a specific period of time. You should try to record a demo, a working demo. We have a literal demo that you can send to people. Awesome, that's great. But most likely you won't because life's a bitch and shit breaks. And if you're pushing hard enough, then all you'll have is most likely a video and a broken demo. And that's okay, because hackathons are sales competitions, actually. So what you want to do is, as in the same way that when you're trying to sell anything, you want to reach out to as many customers as you can. You want to think about it as, there's 2 types of customers in the scope of a hackathon. The actual potential users of your product and the judges. Right? Because you're literally actually not selling to your potential users, you're selling to the judges. But you will be more capable of doing so if you understand your users, right? So just speak to them. Speak to judges. Everybody on Solana is super approachable. You can just literally write anybody, founders, VCs, anybody on Twitter. They'll answer. You can set up a meeting, etc. And then the most important bit that I really didn't know until after the fact is that you want to tailor your application to the specific track that you're applying for, right? And this is kind of where I went wrong for this hackathon, because it turns out that after a lot of work, we presented something that we called Intersect. So Intersect was supposed to be at the intersection of Solana and Zapier. It was supposed to bridge in the very niche way that we all say it in Web3, bridge the gap between Web2 and Web3. And so our tagline was, Intersect connects Solana to plus more than 5,000 applications via our Zapier integration. So it was punchy, it was catchy, right? Also, by the way, create Twitter accounts, tweet. This is really good stuff. You really need that. And so it happened to be that we won. We won first place in the automation track. Really cool. For this first place, we won about $300-400. But it also just happened to be that there's this meme going on Solana called Bonk. Bonk had sponsored some tracks. We also applied for that track by building a little automation within Zapier using Bonk. But how do we put more effort into that thing? Turns out we won 5th place for this track, and we won $1,000. So, first place, $300, 5th place, $1,000. So you kind of want to play the numbers actually, because the first place of the Bonk track was $20,000. Of course, I didn't pay attention to that. So, Moving on. Hackathons are amazing launchpads. You have no idea, or I had no idea, what was going to happen after our win of the hackathon. I had tons of founders of different projects that I respected, that I looked up to, reach out. I had VCs reach out. Everybody wanted to know where were we taking the product next. I had no idea this was going to happen. I was totally not prepared. You want to have a pitch deck, you want to have a general idea as to what you want to do afterwards. And this is all talking about sort of like hackathon from a business perspective. The thing is that on Solana, a lot of the hackathons are kind of like these sort of like launch pads for businesses. So a lot of VCs and different projects really pay attention to it. So, and even if you don't win, you're going to get a lot of inbound from potential users, potential, paying customers, potential partners that will want to connect with you because you're building something awesome, right? And this is something that you get as a result from the outlet that you get, the free marketing from the hackathon. And so that's free attention that you should be ready to capture. And so with that win in mind, we were on cloud nine, and we were like, oh my God, I can't believe we won. And so the Grizzly-thon was just starting on, and this time instead of calling Chris, because you know what happened last time, we said, okay, let's bring it on. So important bit number 4, Solana hackathons are extremely competitive. Once again, it's a sales competition basically. And so you want to make sure that you build as much as you can, record a demo, but for the most important bit, that you can sell it. So the words that you say are more important than the product that you build. And also, don't forget that it's your product, you can pick your customer. So make sure that you pick a specific niche, a specific sort of vertical within the crypto industry where you actually enjoy speaking with these customers, because ultimately your pitch has to be sort of like hyper targeted for these people. And so they're very competitive, so you should take them seriously. They're an incredible opportunity. There's a ton of money on the line. And so you should definitely take it seriously. So always be closing, This is a line in the famous movie. Effective communication is a superpower. Even if you're not a good communicator, what you want to be able to achieve is to have 2 sentences that describe the problem that you're solving and the solution that you're offering, and then just repeat them over and over again to the people, right? And this is like, if you hear different founder stories, different product stories in blogs and podcasts, etc., the founders always give you the same story. And this is the thing, it's not about being a good communicator, it's just about spending some time figuring out how to convey the things that you want to convey in the best possible manner. You memorize that, you just repeat it. Superpower. So let's go back to the problem. Now we were competing in the Grizzly-thon, so we didn't want to do the exact same product, right? Because if you do the same product over the course of 2 hackathons, less chances of winning. Surprise, surprise. So we went back to the what, the why you, the why now, and we went back to this. A hackathon is the perfect place to experiment and to push yourself. Lesson number 2. So we went back to all that, and then we kind of threw it out the window. Forgot about everything we learned because everything was happening in such fast succession. And so we were like, okay, go big or go home, right? There was a month and a half for the Grizzly-thon. Epic montage again of building. We spent many, many nights here in the same desks that you all are sitting. Maybe some of you know me from that. And so I broke it down kind of like the first 3 weeks I was learning Rust. I didn't know any Rust. I didn't know any smart contract development. But we decided that we would build out the first version of that huge idea that just a few weeks ago I had called Chris and told that it was too big for me. But with the wind behind our back, we were really extremely encouraged by the win in the first hackathon with this like really tiny version of the idea, and we decided to scale it up. And it was actually thanks to many of the people here, for example, Valentine, Chris, Max, that I had the ability to learn these things as fast as I did, to develop the first version of the product. And it all just came down to meeting the people here, putting myself out there, saying, look, I don't know this, can you help? And everybody was super open to help us and to teach us. And so I definitely owe what happened in the Grizzlython down to having a space where like-minded people, you know, were here and were open to help. So this is the exact same situation that we have here. So I'm extremely bullish on whatever you guys build, and I encourage you to just, you know, be open and to talk to everybody. So we went back to keep it super simple, stupid. This time we said developing smart contracts is slow and expensive. Non-technical users have no access to automation or their on-chain workflows. So we were like, okay, let's build Zapier for a smart contract. Instead of competing directly with Zapier, we decided, okay, let's build Zapier, but for all the things that Zapier doesn't have, which is smart contract stuff. This didn't exist. It's a pretty tough idea. So yeah, I'm going to show you a little clip from our presentation from the hackathon. So, actually, you're not seeing it here. Let's play it here. Yeah, so there we go. This was what we came up with a month and a half into it. So you had a wallet. You had some workflow stuff. You could essentially set a trigger on a price or on a schedule. And then you could specify which type of actions you wanted to do asynchronously. As you can see, very few things are implemented there. If I'm totally honest with you, maybe one of them actually worked. We hard-coded mostly everything for the demo, but as you can see, the wallet pops up, we sign it, and boom, awesome. So, is this demo why we won the hackathon? Probably not. It turns out that being here at one of the parties, I met a guy who was a motion graphics designer, and he made really cool videos. And so I convinced him to join our team and to make a really cool video for us. And it just so happened to be that the day after we released the video, it went viral, and even Tony retweeted it, and I had like 50,000 views within the first 24 hours. I'm going to play you the video, and this is most likely the real reason why we won the hackathon, because everybody knew what we were building, and because the video explained it to the point where, even though I did a really shitty job at my pitch, the video kind of like really made it seem like we knew what we were doing. So let's take a look. So, how about that video? So it turns out artists are good for something. And for something indeed. If like, to be honest, like, I think we were so tired. We were so tired and exhausted from the last month and a half building that the pitch was really not there, but the video was. And if I'm honest with you, I think that's why we won. So, so we ended up winning 5th place for the consumer track in the hackathon, in the Grizzly-thon. And people thought we were VC funded, people thought that we were a huge team, we were 3 people. People thought we had been working on it for 6 months. We worked on it for about 3 weeks because the other 3 weeks we were learning everything we needed to learn. So, I mean, it all comes down to appearances, right? And yeah, the moral of the story is that anybody can do this, right? It's just a matter of selling it the right way. And I had no idea what was going to happen or anything like that, but you know, we just shipped it and it paid off big time. So, you know, your demo will break, your presentation will be last minute, but whatever happens, you submit. So takeaways, let's just look back a little bit. Find a problem to solve. A hackathon is a sales competition. There are amazing launch pads. They're extremely competitive, or at least the smaller ones are. But at the end of the day, you just ship it because you're going to get all the benefits of what you've done, even if you don't win. Of course, the benefits of winning was we won $10,000 for 5th place. And then we did a demo day a couple days later after I had slept a little bit. And we won another $5,000 here at the demo day, which there's a demo day at the end of this build station. So I really encourage all of you to participate and to just ship it and to come and present your ideas. And so what was the aftermath? The aftermath was VCs really, like, they were very interested. And I really had no idea how to talk to a VC. I barely knew what a VC was. I had to create a pitch deck. I had to get on a bunch of calls with a bunch of people from the States that have like really shitty time zones. And I was really not prepared for all of the things that was going to happen. And at the end of the day, you know, you just learn at hyperspeed. And that's kind of like the best that you can hope for. And it actually turns out that people are extremely kind. They're extremely open for you saying, I don't know. Because in many cases, some of these people were in your shoes. And so, yeah, just try, you know. It's really not that bad. So after the hackathon, we set out to rebuild the product into an actual working product because, well, the demo was mostly hard-coded, right? Our working product has taken months. You know, we hope to have released months ago, but we're still building it. It's been an extremely exciting journey. Just last week, we won another hackathon by building a feature on top of our product. And that was something where it was, you know, Valentine actually, he texted me like, yo, there's this thing that I think would be great for Triggr. There's like $3,000 on the line. You know, I think you have a good shot. And I really hadn't even paid attention to this hackathon because I was exhausted. And overnight, I just built out this little feature. It turned out to be, you know, a pretty cool little demo. I shot the demo absolutely last minute. I thought, I literally pressed the button 1 minute after the submission was closed. I thought it wasn't gonna go through. It did, thankfully. So we just won this other hackathon, and you know, we continue on, we keep on building. And yeah, and it's been extremely, what happened with
Another space.
Wait. There we go. It's been an extremely exciting journey, right? So I just want to leave you guys with this quote that I have pinned to my Twitter from Gary Player, a famous South African golf player. And it's, the more I practice, the luckier I get. And it really just comes down to the reps. So if you're in a position right now where you want to submit to this hackathon, do it. If you're in a position where you don't know anything about the ecosystem, you're not a developer, but you're here, do it. Because it all comes down to the next time that you're in this position, you will be, like me, ready at the right moment, and you'll have all the luck that you deserve. So just ship it. So this is my Twitter and the Twitter of Triggr, the no-code application that we're building. Please follow us. And now a little bit of time for a Q&A if anybody has any questions.